Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to have you with us today. Thanks a lot for taking the time. I guess for fans of the books, fans of the movies, maybe you can set the scene for us a little bit. Emily Watson said it's 10,000 BC before Chalamet, which is one way to describe it. So where can you tell us? Where does the series start?
So the series kind of starts from scratch for the sisterhood in terms of like what people will be familiar with and what it becomes. This is where it really starts to take shape, and the interesting side is how it starts to take shape. Aside that, you have the houses and the great houses who are in power of Arrakis and the trade of spice, which is all very familiar again from the movies, but a totally different political landscape from what we see later on. So we're starting at a time which is a very sensitive time, and something new for the fans, but also something new for any newcomers can jump right in and be brought right up to speed.
Yeah, I feel like it's about, and also like it's a show about family dynamics and legacy and politics and, you know, truth and lies and also I think, finding yourself, like relationships and a little bit of love.
Something for everyone.
Yeah.
And when you first were approached about the concept, about the idea, you know, what was your first thought? Were you already very familiar with the other films that had come before and the books, or was it something that you kind of had to jump into once you got hold of the script?
Well, I knew about the books. I hadn't read them, but I fell in love with the universe the same time as a lot of people when watching Part 1 by Denis Villeneuve. I was just blown away by it. So stunning and amazing performances. And yeah, so when I found out that when I auditioned, I didn't know it was for Dune. So when I found out before meeting the creators of the show and when I read the scripts, I was so blown away because one of my favorite characters in the films is Rebecca, like Lady Jessica. So, and to learn more about the Bene Gesserits, I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, it was kind of similar. Like I'd seen the movie, and you know, as soon as you get the role, you're like, okay, dive in, and then you realize how big it is and how many books they've been. And you know, we were lucky. We know where our story takes place just after the Dune Sisterhood book, so being able to dive into there straight away, kind of pick up the backstory, see what's happening, and then have brilliant scripts that lay it all out there for you. These complex characters, everyone feels really rounded, really flawed. And having Alison there to be able to, you know, she knows everything about Dune.
Yeah.
So it's very helpful.
Yeah, very helpful.
And tell us about each of your specific characters. Maybe start with Kieran, you know, and how he fits into this particular part of the story.
Yeah, so Kieran is an Atreides, which is a name that will be very familiar to a lot of Dune fans, but the Atreides are in a very different place. They're nowhere near as regal or as powerful as they are in the movies. They're starting from a very different place. Their name still holds some weight because they have a great war hero in their history. Definitely not as much cachet. But Kieran has worked hard to train himself to become the sword master for the Emperor, which is one of the top military positions. And he's also the trainer for the Emperor's children, who's Princess Nez.
Yeah, so I play Princess Inez, and she is the heir to the Golden Lion throne. She's dealing with everything that comes with that, pressure, responsibilities, traditions, while being a young woman at the same time. She's very outspoken, like she's not afraid to fight for what she believes in. And when we meet her in the show, she plans to go study at the Sisterhood.
And I guess also looking at the relationship between our two characters, which, you know, is one of the elements of this kind of show, you know, where there is this kind of human, you know, element that gets behind kind of the power dynamic. So how did you work on the dynamic between the two of you two?
Yeah, I think we just kind of built trust with each other and being able to work so closely together. Yeah. And then what's great as the series goes along, I think their hearts and their kind of goals become aligned, you know, and their connection becomes less of a instant attraction kind of one night thing and turns into something deeper. And I think that was probably poorly timed for both of them, and not something that they expected after their first night together. But yeah, they definitely form a strong bond going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And also, like, it's, again, because I think that all of the characters are written very human, you know, I think that's also, like, for them, because in the life that Nez lives, like the royal life, she's very trained to have a facade. Like, she doesn't open up to people very often. She doesn't trust a lot of people. So I think it's also a surprise to get that.
Yeah,
you know,
to let your hair down once in a while kind of thing. We get to see that part.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of these shows, it's just sort of, you know, the ultimate example of prestige TV. I mean, the sets, you know, the world building is so intricate, it's so epic. What's it like when you set foot on those sets, and I guess in some ways it's sort of drawing on the world that Denis created in the movies, but of course it has gone back a bit in time, so there has to be tweaks there too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we'd never been on the sets of the Dune movies, right? So you never know kind of what to expect. So we turn up to set not really knowing what we're going into, but that first time you step on these big practical sets that have been built and thought all those details thought out, all that history in there, practical props that can be used that work, you know, you forget that the cameras are there almost because you are so immersed in that space. And as an actor, like, that's a gift, because sometimes, you know, you might shoot something and it's not quite, so you have to, you know, maneuver around things, but they really put so much effort into
Yeah,
making
it's incredible. Yeah, that just blew my mind, and that's for every department, the costume department as well. And there's so many people that plays a part in creating a show like this, and everything is so down to the detail. And
yeah, very, very lucky to have some of the best people working with us, you know.
Yeah.
It's an incredible cast across the board, but, you know, right at the centre of it, Emily Watson, you know, Olivia Williams and Mark Strong. What's it like, you know, working alongside these people, and particularly seeing Emily kind of lead and sort of set the tone, I guess, in a way, for the show?
Incredible. Like, she has always been one of my favorite actors. I mean, she is just one of the best there is, you know, but she's also a very beautiful human. Mm-hmm. So, like, the tone that she sets on this is just, she just creates a very safe, loving working space and elevating everyone while doing so, because she's that good.
Yeah, she, you know, some people might call her like an actor's actor, because she looks out for everyone.
Yeah, she really does.
You know, especially some of the younger ones. If there's something going on that's not right, she's not afraid to let her voice be heard, you know, in production, so people can get what they need. And, you know, that's so valuable. Like, I've been lucky to work with some great actors, and I felt like turning up to this set, it was like a masterclass every day. You know, you kind of turn and work with someone different. Like,
yeah,
you know,
just
scenes with Mark,
her.
scenes with Travis,
Yeah.
scenes with Olivia. It's like, it really was just, we got to learn so much, you know.
Yeah.
It's like the best sci-fi films and shows, you know, there's the entertainment value and kind of escaping to another world. But there's also so much that's philosophical there, and ways that can chime with our current era, even thinking of like struggles for power or the future of mankind, and, you know, what's right, what's wrong. There's obviously a lot of moral ambiguity in between all that. So what do you think people can take away, you know, on those two different levels from watching the show?
I think that's the beauty of sci-fi. You know, you're able to escape from what's happening in our world, but also have things reflected back at you, what might be, you know, what might be there. You know, our show deals with, like, for example, AI is one of the hot button issues right now in our world. No one quite knows what could happen, and people have the theories of it going on to become, they're going to take over the world, right? And our show takes place 100 years after the machine wars, which is where the robots took over and everything. So it's an interesting take on what society could look like after that, what strains, what people's opinions could be, both sides of the coin. So, you know, that's one of the things that really kicks off our show for a driving point.
Yeah, I think, yeah, completely. And I think, you know, just seeing these, like, how these characters all do bad things, you know, in fighting for what feels right to them, like the what's right, what's wrong, you know.
It's all very human.
It's very human, yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with me. Huge congrats on the show, and can't wait for everyone else to see Dune Prophecy. Thanks so much.